Hi friends, hi family. I wanted to stop by to thank each of you for interacting with my latest video on the risks of leptospirosis and other waterborne infections. In my video, I focused on the risks of contaminated floodwaters and shared some vital information. You liked, you commented, you shared, you followed, and that's important in ensuring that this information reaches far and wide. And today, I'd like to continue the conversation, not on the risks of waterborne infections, but on clean, safe water. How can we ensure that we have sustainable sources of clean water? The information that I will share is also important, so I ask that you also share this video. Share, like, comment, follow. We'd like it to go as far and as wide as possible because this information is vital. So stay with me as I take you through it. Clean water is essential for life, especially after natural disasters like hurricanes. And we know, we've seen the footage. We've probably been on the ground and seen the devastation. And we know that Hurricane Melissa has caused serious damage in Jamaica. What you might not know is that many of the communities that were deeply and severely affected by Hurricane Melissa are rural communities. And some of these communities might not have piped water, and so they may depend on rivers and streams as alternate sources of water. But because the damage is so great, there is flooding and so on, it may be that for a moment the water supply may be contaminated, which is why it's important to understand how to ensure sustainable, clean supplies of water. It's crucial to be in a situation where you are self-sustaining and able to take care of your own needs, because after a while people will move on with their own lives and you might not be receiving bottled water as you are now. So today I want to share how you can ensure safe drinking water by focusing on a few easy and accessible options. As I said in my previous video, after Hurricane Melissa passed through, many water sources may be contaminated with debris, chemicals, and microorganisms, bacteria, viruses, fungi, and even parasites. These you cannot see with your naked eye. So what should you do? How can you ensure safe, clean water, which is essential for life, for health, well-being, and for sanitation purposes? Well, boiling water is one of the simplest ways to kill harmful germs. For instance, many communities can set up boiling stations where residents can bring their water to be treated. To ensure that your water is rendered safe from harmful pathogens, the general guideline is to bring water to a rolling boil for at least 1 minute. When we say rolling boil, we mean not when the little bubbles are gathering at the bottom of the receptacle that you're using, but the water is rolling over and over. Once the water starts to roll, you want to make sure that that's happening for at least 1 minute. However, in higher altitudes, there may be a decreased atmospheric pressure, which means that the boiling point may be lower. So you want to ensure that you're boiling your water for at least 3 minutes. If you're not sure of the level of your altitude, then just boil the water for 3 minutes. This will help to destroy those harmful pathogens. Boiling water is an effective way to kill microorganisms, those bacteria, viruses, and parasites that may be lurking in the water. After boiling, ensure that the water cools naturally on its own before you are storing it in a clean, sanitized receptacle. How do you sanitize a receptacle? Well, you can use regular household bleach to just swirl around with water in the receptacle, rinse it thoroughly, or depending on the material that makes up your receptacle, you can also use the boiling water itself to sanitize the container by just swirling it around for a little bit and throwing out the water. Then you can fill your receptacle with the naturally cooled water. You have safe, clean water for household use and also for drinking. There are other methods for water purification. There are water purification tablets, which come with instructions for use. This I would suggest that those who are packing care packages for hurricane relief, you can include that. Share with those in hurricane ravaged areas who are at risk so that they can purify their water as well. There's one thing to note though, while boiling is a reliable method of water purification, it does not get rid of chemical contaminants or impurities. So it's always wise to consider the source of your water. In times like these, community involvement also plays a critical role in ensuring safe drinking water. Local experts can conduct workshops where they're teaching community members how to purify their water. And another simple and effective way that can be used to purify water is the use of bleach. Now, it's important to understand how to use bleach to clarify your water. You want to ensure that you're using a 5 to 6% solution of sodium hypochlorite or regular household bleach that doesn't contain any scents or additives, because scented bleach or bleach with other additives may be harmful. And remember, we're talking about providing safe, clean drinking water or water for household use. So we talked about the concentration of the bleach that's supposed to be used, regular household bleach. So you're going to read labels now because that's important. When we talk about the dosage, how much dosage or how many drops of bleach should you use? If the water is clear, then you can use 8 drops of bleach to 1 gallon of water. If it's cloudy, you can use 16 drops of bleach to that 1 gallon of water. You're not done yet. You have to allow that bleach treated water to sit for at least 30 minutes to allow its properties to work at destroying those harmful microorganisms. Once you've allowed the water to sit for 30 minutes, then you're going to do the smell or taste test. When you do the taste and smell test, a slight chlorine odor is acceptable. But if it's strong and pungent, you want to allow that water to sit for a little while longer, but you're doing it with the receptacle uncovered so that the chlorine can dissipate. So it can evaporate somewhat to allow for the water to be safe. With anything, there are vulnerable populations, and so we have to be careful when we're treating water with bleach, because there are some people who might be immunocompromised, such as pregnant women, the elderly, those who with chronic conditions, and also young children. So bleach treated water might not be a safe alternative for these individuals. And so we can always rely on boiling water according to how I've already shared for 1 to 3 minutes, depending on your altitude. And the water must come to a rolling boil for us to be sure that the harmful microorganisms are being destroyed. In any of these methods that I've described, especially with purifying water with bleach, please follow your local guidelines and health recommendations, because those are tailored to your jurisdiction. So I've provided general guidelines that are generally safe for everyone. But again, because you're from different jurisdictions, then you follow your local health recommendations and guidelines. Thank you so much for listening, for sharing, for liking, for commenting, for following for more of this content. Remember, a merry heart doeth good like a medicine, and a broken spirit dries the bone. If each man takes care of the person in front of and beside him, each man will be taken care of. We're in the business of taking care of each other because we are our brother's keeper. I am Dr. Tamara, your online epidemiologist. Take care.